friends, this is a Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. Today we're going to have fun. We're going to cover a cake in fondant. Okay, I had a lot of requests on how to cover a cake. Absolutely perfect question. It's intimidating. It is intimidating. I hate how much it intimidates people. It's a cake, right? So if this is your first time, I'm going to show you everything like I try to do with all my videos. I'm going to break everything down. So if this is your first time and you're going to try to cover a cake in fondant, first off, bravo. Bravo for you for taking that very bold and scary step. But don't worry about it, because you can always fix flaws. You can always fix flaws. You see these people who cover these, they make these dinosaur cakes out of fondant. Okay, don't even go there with this. Right now, you're just going to cover a cake. Let's just start there, because I promise you, these phenomenal cake designers who make a body out of covered fondant, they all started with covering an 8-inch round cake. Every single one of them. Not one person stepped up and said, okay, let me just make a full-size body of a bride as a cake. You know what? Let me. Maybe one did. Okay, I've never heard of it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm just saying, don't compare your efforts with someone who's been doing this for quite a while. Everyone started the race on the same foot. So we're going to play. We're going to play. And if we mess up, guess what? We mess up. So what? So what? I've learned a long time ago that my shoulders are a lot lighter. My air is a lot cleaner. And life is just a whole lot better when I stopped giving up flying fig. Figs don't fly. And don't act like you don't know what I meant either. All right. Anyways, I'm just saying, don't knock yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. You have already taken it further than some people, because you're sitting here wanting to learn how to do it. So yay, let's go for learning. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show you how I do it, and it's just how I do it. That's all I can show you. So let's go. And I'm going to start. Okay, so this whole chocolate series started off because I was getting a lot of questions about chocolate fondant and how to cover a cake, and just a bunch of fondant questions. So I said, all right, let me just go from the beginning. So I'm going to show you my phenomenal chocolate cake video. That's below. And then there's amazing chocolate buttercream. That's below. And there's a 3-ingredient fondant video. That's below. And that's such a huge video, because it's so easy and because it's fondant. So I'm also going to make another batch of that, and then we're going to decorate with that. I'll show you how to color it. I'll show you how to tint it. I'll show you how to make some flowers and such. Just simple stuff. The possibilities with fondant are out of this world. You and I and 10 other people in the room can have the exact same cake in front of us with the exact same tools and come up with a ton of different. No one will look alike. None of them will look alike. It's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. All right, shut up, Maria, get to work. Okay, so I've got my chocolate fondant, and before I go on, and I started and then I needed to stop to show you something. So I got my chocolate fondant, and people who are intimidated by fondant, I'm telling you, it's an intimidating medium. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But I used to say, oh, I don't like fondant because it just doesn't taste good, and it's not good, and I don't like it, and it's not really cake decorating and such. And the truth is, there's some of that, some truth to that. But homemade fondant is 1,000 times better. It's actually quite yummy. So I kind of had to knock that one out the wall. It is decorating. It is. It's an incredible medium to work with. As I'm getting this out the other day, I'm realizing the truth of the matter is I've had carpal tunnel surgery in both hands a couple of times, so my hands are a lot weaker than it used to be. So I made this a few days ago, and this will hold up. The buttercream I made a few days ago too, and that one will hold up. The cake I made after several attempts, because this is kind of funny. I made the cake for the video, and then my granddaughter needed a cake to take to a party, so she took the chocolate cake. Then I made another cake to replace that one, and my dog decided, oh, I want chocolate cake. So I made yet another cake to replace that one. And then Easter's here, and we're having dinner, and I'm realizing I didn't even make dessert. So I whip out that chocolate cake, and we make that. So I made yet another chocolate cake, and that's the one that's iced. So at some point. So this sits for a while, and it can hold when it's in plastic, tightly wrapped plastic, and then again in an airtight container, whether it's a bowl, a lidded bowl, or a baggie with all the air out. It can last several weeks. It can last several weeks. I usually make it as I go, as I need it, so I don't really think too much about that. But for me, I'm realizing now the hardest thing about fondant is re-rolling it, because it's hard. It's hard. So re-rolling it, kneading it, that's gonna take a bit of work, and my weak hands are not happy with that, but the end result will make it worth it. So I don't know. Okay, so what you'll need is, of course, the fondant and powdered sugar. Now, for this, I put a little bit of cocoa powder in my powdered sugar. Why not? Why not? Some of this was left over from when I made this fondant, so don't toss it and use it at this point. You're going to need a ruler and a rolling pin. Now, these are the simplest, absolute basic, just to get the fondant on. Okay, this is a cake I iced earlier. Now, ordinarily, what you would do is you would ice it and then immediately cover it with your fondant. You don't want it to get this crust kind of feel, and that's buttercream. Don't think you're doing anything wrong. That's just buttercream. That's what it will do. It will get this little crust. I kind of like it. I kind of like that. It helps for decorating, especially for beginners. There's so much to do with this blank canvas. Boy, I'm telling you, it's tough. But for fondant, what I'm going to do is I need this to be wet. I need this to be sticky. I need this to be tacky, because I need the fondant to grab hold of that tacky icing so that it stays. Otherwise, you can get air pockets, and you don't want that. You want it completely snug as a bug in a rug on this cake. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, there are two options for me to take to get my end result. You can take the leftover buttercream. Man, as soon as I took that off, that smell just hit me, and I just want to dig into it. Take that leftover buttercream, get a mixer, and whip it up. I'm just going to use my hand. That's what I want. I want to be able for it to stick. You see how it came off of that one, but not on all of them. So I need it a little tackier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to water it down just a little bit. Water. I say water as I'm pouring in whipping cream. This is not to do a dirty ice kind of thing. That's not what I'm doing. Ordinarily, a smart person would use a hand mixer. That's good. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. I just needed a little bit wetter. Now, the icing I had before, well, even this icing, it's going to be beautiful for roses or borders and such. And I think I might just save some for that. So I'm gonna cover this, and explain to you my second option, and either would work. I could either scrape this off, put it back in there, and re-ice it so it's wet and tacky, or I can just put a thin layer of this icing on it. I'll tell you what, we're gonna play, okay? I'm gonna see how well this goes. Well, it does kind of go pretty well. It's fairly simple. All right, I'm just gonna add a layer of icing to this. Okay, I want to tell you something as I'm kneading this. It is firm. It is hard. So this is the thing I don't like about it. I see that now more than before. So my solution, pop in the microwave. I put it in the microwave for 45 seconds to a minute, depending on what's going to be flexible for me. It's soft, it's good, it's warm, so it feels good on my hands. And now I can work with it. I've just changed the molecular structure of this baby and made it work for me rather than me working for it. So don't be afraid of that. Do whatever you have to do to get to the end. Okay? So let's roll it out and go from there. Now, when you're rolling it out, you have an 8-inch cake, so you need to measure the diameter of the cake and then the height of the cake times 2. I know you know this. So for an 8-inch cake, you'll get about a 15 or 16-inch circle. That's fine. And you do kind of want to keep this dusted because it will be easier. Dust your rolling pin and just have at it and take your time. You can't see anything. It's a big idea, Maria. Is that better? If you keep spinning it as you go, you're gonna end up with a circle, and 2, you're gonna make sure that nothing's sticking. Now, I'm gonna keep working as I talk, okay? I think I am. The thinner you roll it, the more it's gonna cover, but the thinner you roll it, the easier it's gonna break. The thicker you roll it, it's gonna cover a less area, but then it's gonna be hard to work with it. Make it do what you need it to do. So I'm going to keep at this until I get about a 15 or 16-inch circle. Okay, that's pretty good. If you run your hand across, you can feel a little bit of a bump. You don't have to, but you kind of do want to get a real smooth finish with this. And then just wipe this off. This is pretty durable stuff right here. All right. You gotta love the wonders of a small kitchen, boy. All right, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna roll it halfway. And then I'm just gonna lay this on there. I'm gonna try to do this. Nope, I want you to. All right, hopefully this will work. All right, and then this is just gonna go on top. Don't worry about anything from here. So all you're gonna do is flatten this out. Okay, now I do want you closer. This is pretty thick as it is. I mean, you could have easily have gone thinner. So you're going to push it down and press it into the cake. Now, when you go down, you're going to kind of pull a little. Here, let me show you. This, it stretches, but it also breaks. So you don't want to stretch it. What you want to do is kind of wave it down. All right? And you want to really, really tuck it in. I personally think this should be much thinner, but the process is exactly the same. Tucking it right into that wet buttercream. Okay, you seeing that? And then coming over here and going down until all the edges. And then this, again, wiggle and squiggle and mush and push. Okay, I'm going to take some of this off because it's heavy. It is heavy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I will tell you, I do not have these wonderful, fun little gadgets that they have for this stuff because this is not my medium of choice. I've had them, then I decided I don't use it, so I kind of just got rid of them. Now, personally, I take this off as I go, so I have more control. And you're gonna wiggle and stretch. And that's what's gonna make it come down to the end, okay? Let me see if I can do this where you can see it. Wiggle and stretch. And this is the part where everyone freaks out. So what am I gonna do with that? Same thing you did as if it was over there. Pick it up if you have to, and wiggle and stretch. I'm putting pressure on the top. Don't do that. I don't like that extra stuff here, so it bugs me. And if I cut too close to the cake, I'm not worried about it because it's going to get covered. Besides, I can still wiggle and stretch it down. This way I have more control. So don't be afraid to do that, guys. I mean, if that's what's going to take to make you comfortable, do it. You're probably alone in your kitchen, so who cares? Again, there's a reason this is not my choice of medium. So I'm gonna That's perfect. I don't care about that. That's going to get covered. Okay, that's it. Is it perfect? No. Do I care? No, because it's going to be covered with decoration. So don't stress so much about, oh, it's perfect. It's not like the people on the Food Network. let me tell you something about an episode I saw. I love watching those cake wars. I love watching anything with cakes, right? So these people who make these doll figured wedding cakes and an Appaloosa horse, I mean, that makes it look just real. They were doing a competition, a cake competition, and in order to receive, I don't know, an extra 20 minutes, I don't remember what it was, you have to take a cake, plain cake, fill it, ice it, decorate it with icing. Maria way, the Bijou way. No fondant at all. These people made amazing cakes with fondant. They couldn't even ice a cake. That's not to say that one is better than the other. That is to say, don't be so hard on yourself. You don't always know what it took to get to the end result. I know people who would freak out if they thought that I heated up the fondant to knead it. It worked. So what? Yeah, don't worry so much about it. I mean, especially if this is your first time, your second time. I don't work with fondant. It's not my preference. I love feeling the icing bag in my hand. That's what I love. By the way, this fondant is so freaking good. It tastes like nougat. Yep. Tastes like the inside of a Three Musketeers. That's probably why I like it so much. It doesn't taste fake. It's so chocolatey. Even if you just make this to eat it. You gotta love that there's extras. Reknead it, store it back up, heat it up to microwave it to warm it to be used, roll it out, and you can use like cookie cutters for stencils in different ways and put them on. So many possibilities. Oh, the possibilities. So go ahead and tackle your first fondant cake. Get that out of the way. Get it out of the way the first time so you know what to do the second time, so you get it down by the third time. And after a while, it's like, this is what intimidated me? Shoot. You got this, baby. All right, my friends, until next time, happy baking.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.